Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's Zola.com.
You are listening to DC On Screen.
All right, DC On Screen is back in your ear. I'm David C. Robertson. This is my steadfast, stalwart co-host, Jason Goss.
Hey!
I never know how you're going to come in, man.
This time hot.
This time hot.
Mm-hmm.
Much like the Superman trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. And it was, it comes on the heels of these rumors, that the Superman trailer, like, oh, no. Oh, the studio is not happy.
Mm-hmm.
The studio is not happy with the trailer. They sent it back, and they said, make it better. And, that was the thing. And, you had all the angry Snyder cultists laughing. Yeah. Not all of the Snyder fans, mind you. I'm talking about the mean ones, the bros, the Snyder bros.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it. This is a flop. Blah, da, 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 da. All the crap. Someone asked Gunn if that was true. He said, well, sort of. But when he says studio, that's solely me. As the only studio involved in cutting or anything to do with the trailers is DC Studios. This is the exact same rigorous process I've gone through cutting every Guardians trailer. Pushing the marketing folks as hard as I can. Cutting and recutting until we have something worthy of the film itself. He also, pointed out that he gives way more feedback that's way more specific than simply saying, make it better.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
make it better is a great way to fire somebody, just without having to fire them quite yet.
Uh-huh.
What do you do with that? Yeah, come on, notes.
And they really built it up too. Like they released a little teaser clip.
Mm-hmm.
That says look up, and it's like it's like Lois and freaking Jimmy and Cat Grant and Steve Lombard, they're all in the Daily Planet walking and looking up at something. We have cuts of people looking up. They released a motion poster,
which is beautiful.
It's gorgeous, and I have a physical copy of that shit coming to my house soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In 5 to 10 business days, I believe.
Yeah.
As well as a hoodie, a blue hoodie that says "Take me home."
Right.
My heart.
I too lost a few dollars at that store this week.
I sent you the pictures, and you were like, "Damn it, I wanted that money."
I had plans for it. It was quickly spent. At the first break at work, the phone was grabbed, and looking forward to that.
It's good. The motion poster that they released too had some of the John Murphy score on it, and it's got a little it's got little inserts of John Williams, of course, using the Superman theme. And I know it's divisive, and people are like, oh, why can't they do something new? Well, if they are doing something new, there is also just going to be it's like any James Bond movie. They're going to have a score, this original score, but then, they're going to just stick the tip of that original theme in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to, remember this is the James Bond film.
Yeah.
And I'm all right with it. I won't lie. It gave me the feels.
Oh yeah, several times. It was I went through stages even over probably the 30 times I've seen it now.
Mm-hmm.
there was a time on day one where I just was kind of in shock, and then day two seemed more indulgent in a way. just like really excited about it. And then by day three, I just watched it in the morning and cried a little bit. And then I like fucked up and watched some other fan reactions and saw some other people smile. You know, Krypton showed up, and that, yeah. Then I really cried. Oh yeah,
Krypto's the star of this damn teaser trailer.
Yeah, as one person put it, Fleshy's gonna fly off the shelves or something.
Because they also put out like a little logo promo release, and then the next day, the teaser trailer happened, and my God,
we all lost it. Yeah,
well, you know, most of us lost it. The vast majority of us were very, very excited. I showed it to my youngest sister. She said, "That's one I'm not going to sleep through,"
which is exciting for her.
Well, I don't think she's adequately. Look, my sister's you know, she's a fan of like the Silver Age kind of aesthetic, but she's also like not a huge Superman fan. So she's fallen asleep pretty much through every Superman film she's ever watched. Man of Steel, total Z's. Christopher Reeve, wake me when something happens. Like,
Superman Returns, we never made it that far.
I don't think she did, actually.
She fell asleep thinking about it. Fell asleep in the middle of the word Ralph, actually.
Yeah. No, she likes Superman the animated series though.
Yeah.
And the DCAU. She likes that.
Yeah. It's really only a few. I mean, it really is only a few movies when we're thinking about it, but
yeah, it's not that many, honestly. So, you know, I think this is gonna honestly, I think the dog hit it for people in ways that, you know, I wasn't anticipating.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I knew that dog was going to be there. I knew I was going to love it, but I didn't expect necessarily to see. I don't know. I guess I didn't expect to see Krypto that early. It hadn't fully hit me. We were going to really see him, and then there he was. Like the moment that man whistled, my heart literally went up. I mean, I'm not kidding. My heart rate went up. And then, I mean, that was just the first time. Like I got physically excited, and then later when I was watching it, it turned into tears. But yeah, it was. Oh God, I love that dog. I was very excited about it.
Yeah, when he whistled, I immediately welled up because I knew what was coming, and then I saw like the snowstorm.
Yeah,
and I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
I will
day
say,
one, pulled a guitar off the wall. Yep. Okay. Got to figure that one out real quick.
Man, so much of this trailer though, there was so much. We got to see David Corenswet moving around in the suit. I thought it looked really good, way better than the friggin' set pictures, and that's always the way it is. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't have a problem with the suit in the set pictures.
Not a bit.
You're like, I like the wrinkles. I don't care. Like, oh, okay, it looks better because they took out some of the wrinkles. Fine.
I
whatever.
was perfectly fine with the set photos, having never seen them. I think I actually avoided those, unless if I did see them, I've erased them from my memory, because this is how I prefer to experience things like this.
Yeah. I like seeing set pictures. I just like seeing behind the scenes stuff. I know they're going to change stuff. Yeah. I have compartmentalized it enough in my mind, you know, where I'm just like, I'm not just sitting there going like, oh, this is how it's going to look.
Yeah.
Because look, if I believe that, then I would have thought like, oh no, Henry Cavill's suit is just going to look like a, you know, padded, sprayed, like they cell shaded this, you know, the muscles in. Looks great on film.
It really does. And
behind the scenes, looks like garbage. But, I mean, they all kind of do behind the scenes.
A little. What do you expect?
Well, they don't have the color grading. They don't have the little tweaks and shit.
Yeah. The Christopher Reeve one is pretty much a trash bag that's been colored.
But they couldn't do anything with that.
Looks great on screen.
I mean, it looks okay. It, you know, looks a little more space age than, like, the George Reeves, Kirk Allen, you know, potato sack with a Superman symbol on it, but
yeah,
even those look pretty okay.
It did have some serious potato sack vibes to it. I don't know why it looked itchy.
Yeah, it does. It does. Like the old Star Trek uniforms, just like, man, look, y'all, my skin's crawling just looking at it. But same time, I will say that Dean Cain is about where I started going, all right, we need to figure out something else.
I think we've done this look. Yeah. That is about where I started. I guess it did vanish for a second there. I don't know. Returns seem to have basically a strip of cloth over Brandon Routh.
I mean, no, like Superman Returns, like that's where they started doing they went full Spider-Man with it.
Did they?
Like Spider-Man really changed the game on superhero costumes. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah,
So
given the timing, that's not surprising.
we get the Brandon Routh suit, and it's blue. And I'll admit, Superman Returns, like the shading, or like the shade of colors on that suit were strange to me. It was a weird blue. It was a weird red.
Yeah.
But get up close to it, and like they made a texture. It was like an actual like rubber suit. It looked like to some degree.
In real life, if you get up close to it, Brandon Routh hugs you.
I hear he's a kind man.
He just generally is.
But yeah, like there's like a texture, and like the texture is like the little tiny Superman symbols.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the first time that we actually got like, oh, it's not just a suit.
Yeah.
It's not just like spandex. It's actually some kind of something.
I don't know in this one if it's there doesn't seem to be like an entire, Kryptonian Moby Dick written on it like there is in Snyder's version.
Right. No, it doesn't. No, there's not that.
This is just cloth.
No. I will say though, but there were a few iterations that we would have gotten a different kind of Superman suit than spandex if they had been made. The J.J. Abrams version, if you look behind the scenes, they had some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah.
Tim Burton's
even would
Death
have
and Return
really gone into some craziness on the suit.
Yeah, I mean, even the standard Superman suit just looked like the same thing like the rubber body armor thing that they did with Batman.
Yeah.
The molded muscles and whatnot.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not really what this...
Well, it's the first thing that stands out. You get a good look at it while he's, TKO'd on an ice cap somewhere.
Well, he's like laying in a hole like freaking Goku or some shit.
Yeah, yeah.
As the internet has been quick to point out.
Very quickly pointed out. It's like the top comment on one of the YouTube videos for it right now. Funnily enough, it's the first thing that occurred to me was, oh man, that suit's colorful. And then, oh man, I can hear like his ribs moving around when he breathes.
What a way to start a trailer.
It is labored breathing. Like my daughter asked when I showed hers, what's wrong? I think he just got beat up, Betty. Said, oh, he does not look good. No, he does not. He does not.
Yeah. But I'm curious. I want to know who has done this to you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a couple of candidates in the trailer, but yeah, something put a whooping on him.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates, and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah. What part do you want to talk about?
Am I crazy, or does it look like there's a part in there where he's like crying over the dead body of Keelix?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we're gonna lose. him there.
You think Alan Tudyk's doing the voice of Keelix?
God, I hope so.
We know he's got some mystery role in there.
It'll mean more.
He's like, yeah, Tudyk's
It is a bit of a waste
one
to
to
have
have.
him in that role unless that robot's going to have some sense of humor, I think.
yeah, I mean, well, maybe. I don't know. I'm okay either way.
I could do it. It's not like a established canon that says to be a very boring little robot butler, but what, it can have jokes. Why not? Kryptonians
Tudyk's
can do
got a
more than just
range.
fake Shakespeare bullshit.
And Tudyk can do more than just jokes, damn it.
Yeah, you can. Very well. But when you're so damn good at something,
That's true.
it's a shame to leave it on the table. So along with just him getting his ass beat and how good it looks, particular moment, like just the spitting the blood out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we're not going to go, it wasn't going half-assed about whether Superman got his ass beat here. And also later in the trailer when he's being taken home, he looks unconscious. Like it seems like the last thing he got out was the whistle and the very,
Take me home.
yeah, what is going to be now the iconic, and certainly plastered on our shirts and or hoodies, take me home. But yeah, it seems like he got that out of his, got that out, gets the cape up to Crypto's mouth and passes the fuck out.
Uh-huh. I woke up and I looked at, people were talking about, the DC shop. And I was like, what's going on in the DC shop? I went over there and saw that Take Me Home. Immediately, I started crying.
Yep.
And immediately sent it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I think it's funny everyone's been making the do you bleed joke. Yes. Yes, Batman, I do bleed. All over this pretty white snow.
I thought about that too at some point. Like, man, it's not going to be hard to get his DNA for a sequel on that if they want to make something.
And wouldn't that be fun if that's how Lex gets his DNA for Ultraman?
Yeah.
If that's what's happening.
It's not going to be a hard spot to find. Where's the crater in the snow with blood around it?
Yeah.
In a spot that nothing but animals have seen in like 20 years.
Yeah.
Should be a blazing trail of dog prints and something that looks sledish coming out of it.
Right. I thought it was kind of funny. Corenswet was like, well, because they were like, well, where's home? And he's like, well, I don't think he's going to be dragging me back to Kansas.
Yeah. I think we're going to the fortress on this one.
Yeah, that's what I assumed.
I mean, it's a valid question. We do see home. Weird point, but when you watched it a couple dozen times, you have enough time to think about this. But kind of like that home in this case is just a one-story house on a farm. I don't know why the one story really strikes home, but
Yeah, that was weird.
it does in a way though. It's what I drive by more often than anything else. We have a ton of farms around here, and like it's just one little one-story ranch, 3-2, 2-1, whatever, 2-2.
Yeah.
Whatever pairing you've got. But yeah, it's just a little one story off the other side and then a ton of land most of the time. That looked like something I've seen on a Zillow, like posting somewhere rather than like the outside of some of the Kent Farm houses that you've seen are, God, like $1.2 million houses. and I mean like where we live.
Yeah.
Like the
I have often thought, like
the
in
CW
Smallville.
farmhouse. Jesus, that thing's gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah. On Smallville, they're always like, I'm going to have to do something drastic to keep the farm going. Like, sell the fucking farm.
Yeah. You could sell that one, buy another tiny baby farm to the side and live happily.
You'll be fine.
Sell the pretty one some city slickers. Go make a real farm somewhere.
All right, so there's a thing called cottagecore, John.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I
whatever
may not understand it, but
whatever
you
that
got
new
it.
trend is where you make farms into a house. That's a whole thing too now. So yeah, you split it into two lots. Farm's one thing. Sell it to some bougie assholes, some Beetlejuicers. Let them do their thing.
You mean ruin it?
Yes. That's what they'll do immediately. But yes. And find the ghosts. But
I love the kaijus.
I do.
By the way,
I think there might be
legitimizing what the McFarlane toys said, the toy leaks. Just saying. I have no reason to believe that goggled, masked, gimp-looking individual is not Ultraman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also have no reason to believe that underneath that mask, he's not Bizarro.
Or any combination of the concepts.
Maybe it's Ulysses,
It
and
doesn't
then he turns into Bizarro. I don't know.
maybe. It doesn't have to like be, Earth 3 Ultraman or anything. It can just be, hey, I made another Superman and I give him another name and he's going to beat you up now.
Uh-huh.
I call him Ultraman. go punch Superman, Ultraman. Like that could be legit what we do here. And okay,
Might be. I'm all right with it.
All I know is at some point there will be a baby kaiju, based on your research.
Yeah, there might be. That kaiju looks like it came from the ocean depths.
It does, though. It does look like an aquatic beast.
It's got that moss on it, man.
Yeah,
it's got that coral, that seaweed shit.
Yeah, it's in an area of the trailer where it was cut real quick, so I had to actually stop and make sure I was watching on a slightly bigger screen to figure out who was taking all that fire.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it was Hot Girl for a second. Went back and saw the cape, but
she was in the trailer.
She is, yeah.
I love that James Gunn is so willy-nilly with his kaiju.
As in, they don't have to just be known canon kaiju, or
we got friggin'. Oh, I mean, he
just likes throwing kaiju at shit.
He just likes throwing kaiju at shit.
Okay.
Like we had like a giant fucking alien kaiju at the end of Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
We had Starro in the Suicide Squad. We're gonna have a couple of big things floating around up in here. It looks like we got like some kind of, was that like Sun Killer? We got the damn kaiju that we saw fighting. I mean, like the big Godzilla looking thing.
Yeah,
that was a staple of Silver Age.
True.
And
you couldn't do anything dark, so you had to go big.
Now you can do both, but at the same time, like, I do want to see, like, we've exhausted the overall dark tone quite a bit in DC, and I'm excited to move on from that and get back to pre-Frank Miller. Like, love Dark Knight Returns, but 86 followed by the 89 Batman movie, everybody just got it stuck in their head that everything DC has to be super dark. I'm just happy to move on from that and get back to something else.
Could be. I mean, I think a lot of creators have that, but I think it's just an instinct to grit things up because it's going to seem fresh. I mean, in a way, it seems like a lot of people had it in their idea that it was all, happy-go-lucky to begin with, that Christopher Reeves, that Reeve would be the only one that actually did anything with it. So it seems like it was 20 years of everyone thinking that was the first time anyone had done that take. But, like, no, that's all what we were building off of. We've seen this before.
I think, honestly, the Christopher Reeve, like the 78 was more of a response to, I mean, we did need hope and optimism as a country at the time.
Yeah, it bit because people wanted it, which is another good reason that this might take right now.
But also I think 78 was their version of gritty in media.
Well, there's a lot... Kind of.
Because before that, you had George Reeves.
Yeah.
It was always like the wink at the camera and the, like...
There was. The thing I always heard about the 78 version was it forced the characters to take him seriously standing there in that suit. Like, it wasn't going to literally, like you just said, wink at the camera and go, yeah, we know he's in a silly suit for the first time. Which I think was, at that time, a very, modern, edgy thing to do. Mm-hmm. Now we've gone way past that. Like, what you're talking about is, what are we, like, postmodern now? If that's what we're going for?
Yeah, I guess so. But, they also had those lavish set pieces that we had never seen in a Superman production before in 78. So we were looking at this Fortress of Solitude. The Fortress of Solitude sells that cheesy-ass suit. Because you're just like, oh, well, that's not spandex. That's like some kind of space age shit.
Yeah. It gives it a context to...
Yeah, look at that. Look at that fucking fortress back there.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. You saw that planet with Marlon Brando at the beginning. They're not sending their boy out in spandex. No.
Let him busk on a street corner in the same suit, though, and it looks like shitty semantics all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the effects, special effects, we'd never seen anything like that before. I mean, the marketing was literally, you will believe a man can fly. That it was,
and for the time, it really worked.
The big lavish set pieces, even Luthor's lair was big and lavish. You have the big lavish set pieces, and you have the special effects. I think it just really sold it in a way that made it feel grounded. Not even necessarily gritty, even though it was, when you compare it to Adventures of Superman.
Sure. But there really is a difference between gritty and grounded, and we got to gritty a little bit later. I think it was more grounded than what it would seem now. But like you said, we've gone through several stages here, and these things happen in cycles. So yeah, it's something like this that bounces back into just, no, I sent you this quote somewhere. Gunn had said something about this. My take on Superman is about being kind in a world where kindness is outdated.
Yeah, that's like that year. That's like a year old. You know,
It might be. I just saw it again, and that really it makes a lot of sense when you watch this trailer. Though it's the kind of thing watching this trailer that when you read that quote, you're like, oh man, I could really use that movie. That sounds fantastic. Please give me that.
Mm-hmm.
Got me even more excited. So do you have any specifics?
I'm pretty excited.
That
the war in Baravia.
Mm-hmm.
So by the way, Baravia comes from like Superman 2 back in 1939.
Okay.
Where Superman intervened in a civil conflict.
Gotcha.
And
there's a growing list of fake countries in DC. I never know when we've made up a new one.
But that kid putting up the little makeshift Superman sign and praying to Superman.
Yeah.
And damn it, you get the feeling that Superman might hear him.
Yeah.
He might actually hear him. Like, that got me.
That one, yeah. So it was fun to watch fan reaction trailers, and I've never done that. Really, well, not really. Well, not never. I mean, I have occasionally, but it's I specifically wanted to go to them here because for the first time in a long time, I've seen comments that were actually positive, and just thought, man, let me see. And over and where it really hits is you see Crypto, you hear "Take Me Home," and then that next flash when the music swells and he's slow mode in front of the bollard saving that girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same thing over and over again. People are just kind of like interested, little smirk here and there, maybe a smile when they realize what the whistle is, kind of thing. Like there's moments, but then that hits, and you can watch the reactions and watch everyone just freak the fuck out. This was going to be exciting in a way that I hadn't seen in a long time. But I don't know. I guess that was what I was getting at. It's really nice to see the actual positivity for once.
It is. And, the first couple of days, I'd say I saw almost nothing but positivity, but I was mostly just on Threads. And then you and I talked about how we're seeing nothing but positivity. And then I went, wait, I haven't even looked at Twitter or Facebook. I was like, oh, okay, they're the usual suspects.
Yeah, I had no idea on Facebook. What I saw, the pieces that I see cracked me up. Like Reddit was the one that really, really made me laugh because I went there expecting it to be just completely destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And no. I mean, I had to keep scrolling to find a shitty comment.
Yeah.
And then later I was actually surprised to see advertising on Reddit, which is rare. It's an unabashed marketing run right now.
Yeah. And it was funny. Like I saw one of those usual suspects being like, Gunn and company have really stooped to a new low to bolster the numbers of the trailer. They have bought advertisement room for it in front of movies. I went to the theater and they were playing the Superman trailer.
Mm-hmm.
This is ridiculous. And everybody just leapt onto this person and was just like, that's called a fucking trailer, man. That's what we've been doing for like 60 years.
That's why when you go to the internet, they're called that. It's an old vestige from when you went to the movie theater and you did that.
Yeah.
That didn't turn out to be a parody account because, God, really?
No, that guy was real, apparently. One bit in the trailer that I see attacked quite a bit, specifically from Man of Steel fans, is, oh man, Superman got hit in the head with a can and he flinched. I'm like, okay, so even just ignoring the fact that there's probably some like emotional context there, like, I don't know, he's sad that somebody is throwing something at him and that they think he's a bad person. Sometimes I'll be sitting there and like a fly will fly by and hit me in the back of the head and I flinch. It didn't hurt. I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates, and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
But let's rewind and take a look at Clark Kent in that trucker dive in Man of Steel. Got drunk asshole trucker, throws a can at the back of his head, and he flinches.
Mm-hmm. He does.
And then he goes outside and destroys a truck that doesn't even belong to the asshole who threw the can at him.
Yeah.
There was an insurance company somewhere that had to deal with that. There was a retail chain that didn't get a bunch of shit they were supposed to be getting.
Well, in the case of the trucker, he might have actually owned that, to be fair. But that's a rare case.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Well, no, I mean, just in truckers, they actually tend to own a lot. But it's actually how you take advantage of truckers. It's a long story there. But in Man of Steel, he's like getting hit and he emotionally flinches. And that made sense to me. I do admit that the physics of this bother me, but it only in like a way that's a little bit curious, not in a actually pitch a fit about it kind of way. Like it hits the back of his head and he moves, and in the sense that he just something hit the back of his head and he kind of moved it a little bit. I kind of don't blame him. It in a way though, if you watch it, it almost looks like it moves his head to have been hit by it. That would bother me, but I really can't tell which one of those two is happening. So there's.
To me, his head barely moved and he just blinked at the same time the can hit him.
Yeah, I didn't see him like wince like it was painful or something. Part I've never been on board with. I don't know where they got that.
I'm just saying, like, you could have your little explanation.
I think you have to explain it moving his head in some capacity because he wouldn't need. It's not like the weight of one can, even a full 12 ounce, is actually going to like move Superman's head if you throw it at him. But
there's also contextually within the scene a possibility that he doesn't have his powers at that moment. Like, his suit is torn the fuck up. And at the beginning of the trailer, we see him crash bloodied into the snow. Can't even get up. Got to have Crypto drag him back home. I mean, we don't know what...
on this one, he kind of looks a little bit...
condition he's in.
Roasted, literally?
Yeah. Probably from that damn kaiju.
I wondered if the kaiju was involved before that. Yeah.
And we've seen that shot of...
How did everyone get so mad so fast? There was just a kaiju right there. Why are we mad at Superman so quickly?
He brought the damn kaiju, probably. I mean, you got to think Lex Luthor's got some kind of campaign going against him. I mean, if we're talking about if Lex as a billionaire in the DC universe is anything like the billionaires we have in our universe,
yeah. Then it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, if Lex is like Elon.
Mm-hmm. Who I can only presume is growing his own baby kaiju.
Yeah. Also, I wonder if Ultraman is Metamorpho.
I guess possible. I don't know what to do with his character either. So, as someone pointed out, there's almost no dialogue in this thing.
Right.
We have no idea what the story is. There's
right.
nothing in the way of what the fuck is happening in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that everyone is doing kind of the role you expect out of the people in Superman.
I mean, there's a bit where it looks like Superman is at Stag Industries and Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion, walks in and looks like he makes a construct to cover up the glass at the front of this building while Superman's doing something. By the way,
angrily mourning, it looked like.
Yeah, you could bitch about that Guy Gardner. That was pitch perfect.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah.
No, even McGuire was like, "Dude, that looks like something I would draw."
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think people are bitching because he looks like
accurate,
kind of ugly and hard to like.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be Guy. That'll be Guy for you.
Yeah. The joke on the internet is, "Oh, he looks like Uncle Fester," and I'm like,
Yeah.
Have you ever read a comic?
Yeah, he does. Guy Gardner is not a likable man.
I don't blame you if you don't know Guy Gardner from the comics, okay? He's somewhat obscure for the general audience.
Like,
But type in Guy Gardner and you will find that face.
yeah. Yeah, there's some kind of famous owns in the history of comics, and him getting knocked out in one punch was something that everyone was really satisfied about.
By Batman,
Yeah.
yes.
It's up there with the fans straight voting to kill a Robin. As far as
I think that was a little more harsh than Batman just socking Guy in the fucking
I just like to
nose.
think the fans would have voted the same.
Oh, they would have.
Yeah, probably more in favor. I think the Robin vote was at least a little bit close at the end, but
Yeah.
they didn't have to have a recount kind of close or anything. But it was, but yeah, not a character that you were going to like in any capacity. He usually shows himself, and in my run-ins with Guy Gardner, he usually shows himself to be a lantern in some capacity. He's not likable, but goddamn it, he does the job.
Yeah.
Probably going to be like this guy. Fuck him, but yeah, I'll take him in a fight.
And Variety is saying that he's confirmed for the Lantern show too. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
Especially considering, in the comics, he winds up, leaving the Green Lantern Corps for a while. He gets the yellow ring, starts going by Warrior and shit. Like, the 90s were a fun time.
They were.
But hopefully we'll see like a little like Justice League International or something. Some Giffen inspired Justice League chicanery.
Mm-hmm.
I am happy to have Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner in the universe. So we saw a little bit of Hawk Girl.
Mm-hmm.
We saw just a little bit of Metamorpho,
Mm-hmm.
like a face.
Mm-hmm. Unless you saw the Sonic trailer, and then I think you saw like him standing for a third of a second.
As far as I could tell, there was like an extra shot of Ultraman, Lex, and the Engineer in the
Was
theater.
it? Okay.
And then it was that shot, and then like
That was terrific.
what else was it? Yeah, it was
Terrific.
one more shot of Terrific.
Yeah, he was
Mr. Terrific. Yeah.
Okay. I saw all of those characters. I have no idea what any of them are doing in any capacity yet. They all they look right when you view them. Terrific doing some cool shit with gadgets. Hot Girl looks like she's about to beat the shit out of something.
Yeah.
It seems on point. Like we just don't know where the hell we're doing with any kind of story yet.
Yeah. Looks like we might have a Sun Eater in the background.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, that's
A
always
little
fun.
All-Star Superman going. Might be Brainiac. Who knows? Because it doesn't quite fit either.
Yeah.
To me, anyway. We got a very intense looking shot of Lex crying angrily.
Mm-hmm.
We also got a shot of him with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So he might have a kryptonite bullet. Maybe that's why Superman looks so rough. Maybe that kryptonite bullet took some of his energy before the kaiju showed up or Ultraman showed up. So we did see him fighting Ultraman in that stadium.
Yeah. I don't know what it amounts to yet. Like these are, I don't know how we're going to get to a desert where Terrific has to put some shields up against what looks like, are those like military gunmen?
There's what?
Like he's at at some point Terrific's at a military base and everyone's shooting at him. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Where the fuck is that scene in anything else that's happened so far?
I don't know. But it was exciting.
Yeah, it was. It looks, it's going to look good. But, if anything that everyone, I guess, is in the environment I expect them to see it. Like every time you see Lois, she's got a sheet of paper with her and is near a desk.
She noticed that she was kissing both Clark and Superman.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. But yeah, I love any version of Lois where she figures it out quickly. Like immediately puts it together, calls him on it. That's my favorite version.
Mm-hmm. I'll get to it in a minute, but there was an interesting statement that Gunn made about that I've never seen, or I don't think I've ever seen on screen.
Nice.
But and I'm excited about that. So, do you have anything else about the trailer that you thought?
No. Should get to some of the news. It was fun. Really just the rest of it was exciting. I watched it dozens of times. I had damn near forgotten for half a second, and then when it got ramped back up, I got excited again. I don't know that I've ever loved a casting more than Rachel as Lois Lane.
Yeah.
She ain't even doing that much yet, and I'm deeply, deeply happy with it. But yeah, what'd they say?
What did who say?
All the people. Yeah, you were.
Oh, well, we'll get to that in a second. You know what? I think I'll end this segment of the show by saying that on December 20th, that was 2 days ago, now, Gunn released a statement, "Crypto really did take us home with over 250 million views and 1 million social posts. Superman is officially the most viewed and the most talked about trailer in the history of both DC and Warner Brothers." And then he expressed thanks to everybody who was excited and shared the whatever, said happy holidays, all that crap. We all know that. Like, that's fine. That's just, kindness.
Slightly not excited because I am also excited, but damn, they've had some real hype around some premieres, so that is impressive.
Yeah, that is crazy. I think we need to hit a break, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk a whole lot more about Superman because they've been basically on like a freaking marketing tour since this thing dropped. It really jump started, and if it keeps up, I don't know what we're going to do.
Surely they can't.
You would think. All right, let's hit a quick break.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates, and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's Zola.com.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Dave here, and if you are listening to DC on Screen, then my guess is you're into stories about people with superpowers. What kind of consequences come from having those powers? What kind of responsibilities? Well, my friend, Amanda Denham, has written a book you'll love called Sin Eater. 2 years ago, Jade Holloway uncovered a startling truth about herself. She had the power to erase memories, but her discovery came at a devastating cost when she unintentionally wiped her best friend Jenny's mind, leaving her in a coma. Now, as the Sin Eater, Jane wields her abilities to free others from their sins, all while grappling with the weight of her own past mistakes. Amanda Denham's debut novel, Sin Eater, invites readers on an unforgettable journey filled with new friendships, haunting scars, and the profound influence of memory. Guys, I read it. It's a winner. This is not even a paid ad. I honestly just believe in the work. Check it out. Be sure to keep up with Amanda Denham. This kid's going places. Look for Sin Eater online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or follow the link in the show notes of this podcast to donbates.com/Amanda Denham. Back to the show. All right, we are back. And, there is a large portion of the fan base who is very, very upset about the trunks. But I've actually seen a bunch of those people turn when they read this. Now, what's aggravating is that only portions of this keep getting spread around the internet, like when you see it on social media posts. But apparently David Corenswet was the one who convinced Gunn that the trunks were the way to go. Gunn says, at the end of the day, the debate wasn't that heated. It was heated for a while. I was on the no trunks team for a long time. And Man of Steel director Zack Snyder said that when he was doing it, he tried 1 billion different trunk versions as we did. And I kept going back to no trunks, no trunks, no trunks. And I'm like, well, let's just grind it out. Let's just keep trying trunks and see what happens. And David Corenswet said something to me that really affected me. We were trying on all these different versions, and we screen tested with trunks and no trunks, and one of the things David said is that Superman wants kids to not be afraid of him. He's an alien. He's got these incredible powers. He shoots beams out of his eyes, can blow the truck over. He's this incredibly powerful, could be considered scary individual, and he wants people to like him. He wants to be a symbol of hope and positivity. He dresses like a professional wrestler. He dresses in a way that makes people unafraid of him, that shows that, and that really clicked for me, and I think trying to pretend that Superman's costume doesn't have some frivolity to it. At its base, trying to make it look serious is silly because he is a superhero. He's the first one, brightly colored, and that's who he is. So that's where we landed, and eventually we all came to a place where almost all of us agreed on the trunks.
I dig it.
I dig it too, and there was another element.
It's very persuasive.
For me.
I also really like that there were a couple people based on that still in the background going, yeah, I just fuck him though.
Yeah.
he said persuaded most.
Yeah, he said persuaded most. But, you know, there, like, the last couple of weeks on social media, you know, someone was shitting on this idea of like, oh, Superman has shoulder pads, or Superman has, you know, knee pads, and he doesn't need that. He's Superman. And it just clicked for me, and I had to respond, and that didn't turn out well. Mm-hmm. I just wound up, you know, blocking the guy. Mm-hmm. Because he wasn't hearing any reason. But I was like, you know, Superman doesn't actually need any of it. He doesn't need any part of that costume. The spandex, whether it's programmable matter. He doesn't need the cape. He doesn't need the trunks. He doesn't need any of that shit. He could just be like a naked dude.
He could just be dick flapping in the wind, saving everybody, yeah.
Or ruling over everybody. Mm-hmm. He could literally be like the emperor with no clothes. Because he doesn't need them.
Would be extra scary, but I do sort of like the idea of someone that's everyone just begrudgingly ignores his nudity because he just saves so many people.
Uh-huh. Well, he's kind of a pervert.
But he's like never done anything with it. He never does anything appropriate. He just won't dress.
Yeah. He's never erect.
Yeah. Never said anything untoward. Just he won't get dressed. It's fucking weird. Like, what do you say? He stopped a nuclear explosion last week. Fuck.
Also, you can't touch his ears. He freaks out.
Yeah. I think that will make him erect. And he's kind of trying not to leave that vibe out there. So,
like, no, I was just moving on. I like the idea of him being a professional wrestler and dressing like that because he doesn't want to scare children. It feels like a reverse of, or you know, transposing the Batman thing from New Frontier over to Superman. Mm-hmm. Do you remember this? Where they're like, oh, Batman, yeah, you're working with this kid now, and now you changed your costume, it looks more friendly, and he's like, I'm trying to scare criminals, not children. Right. It feels like that, but with Superman.
That was like the era where he's... have you seen a couple of frames where he occasionally pulls a lollipop out? I swear I think I've seen Batman pull a couple of lollies out that utility belt for, you know, scared child that almost got mugged or some shit.
I don't remember that, but okay.
I really want to look that up now and see if I imagine that one, but I could swear I've seen that happen at some point recently.
I mean, if...
That feels like it would be a Scott Snyder move, too, for some reason.
Almost want him to pull a lollipop out of the utility belt and have the kid say, Mom, I'm not supposed to take candy from strangers.
Yeah.
Batman just kind of chuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Your mom tell you that? Yeah. Well, your mom's dead.
So it's your version of shady quarantine Batman, though, that just looking for crime. You hand the kid the fucking lollipop, he takes it. Never supposed to take it from a stranger. Like, yell at the kid.
Yeah. I want my abusive stepdad back. Mm-hmm. All right. So on the Justice League cameos, quote unquote cameos, mm-hmm. they're not just cameos. Gunn says these characters all get their moment in the sun. They all have their moments. They're not just cameos. These are the characters. They're supporting cast. Mr. Terrific is the main character of those characters. He actually has a big part of the plot. And so that was fun. And of course, getting to work with Nathan is always something. And putting him in a stupid look. And then Isabella is great. Mm-hmm. I've been a fan of hers for a long time. But it was about balance. So right here we have a clear indication that Gunn absolutely knows that Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner looks stupid. That's the character. That's the joy of working with Nathan.
We did this on purpose.
It's a bit how Yeah, it's a bit how Sam Raimi always really likes working with Bruce Campbell because he gets to beat the fuck out of him.
Right, yeah.
And make him look stupid.
Yeah. This is why Seth MacFarlane used to love having Adam West around.
Mm-hmm.
He once called him an incredibly game fella or something like that. Just real sporty.
Oh, you said game.
Game, yeah. That's where I learned the game as an adjective in that sense, yeah.
I thought you were saying he's just happy.
No. He was usually very happy on set, which also helped people enjoy working with him. But yeah, apparently you could just show up and throw Adam West the weirdest fucking line whatsoever, and he would just rattle it off without thinking twice about how weird it was.
Look, man, I love Batman 66. I love that original Batman shit, okay? Or that, not original, but, 60s Batman shit. I will say this. My favorite Adam West line is perhaps the Noid should have avoided me. Do you remember this?
No. I've heard you say it over and over again now, but I don't remember the original anymore.
It's from Family Guy. When he's like, he brings in a pizza and he goes, oh no, you got to be careful because there's this guy named the Noid and he keeps trying to get that pizza.
Yeah.
And then like he comes in and the Noid is getting the pizza. He just beats the
Ever-loving hell
fuck out of just beats the shit out of this Noid. Maybe even kills him. And then goes, perhaps the Noid should have avoided me. Because of Domino's. Avoid the Noid.
I thought it was fucking Little Caesars. Okay.
No, it was Domino's.
It was an era that it's overlapped in my head.
Man, they used to have a video game. They had a Nintendo Avoid the Noid video game.
God.
And I played that shit all the time. I rented it from my Premiere Video. And I played the living hell out of it.
Took home that and a copy of Pepsi Max. Another famous game from what must have been the same area.
Look, let's be honest. Like, we would go pick up that game and some movies, and then my parents would take me and get like Lee's Chicken or Pizza Hut. We did not buy Domino's, but Pizza Hut and Lee's Chicken did not have a cartoon character on a fucking video game for me to play. So
that's fair.
That's how that went down in my life.
There was a $5 Little Caesars next to the video rental store. So guess what happened?
That makes sense too.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. And now I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free and each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
So there was a behind-the-scenes video that was posted by Reese Feldman, and in it he's on the set of The Daily Planet, and he asks the audience if they would mind watching Superman for a second, and he turns the camera over to a confused David Corenswet decked out as Clark Kent, and Corenswet appears confused and unaware of what's going on, and then he asks the audience, sorry, who? Who are you supposed to be watching? He just stares at the camera wide-eyed, mouth open, and it was interesting. It was okay. It was weird, but what caught me off guard about it was how damn deep his voice is as Clark.
I didn't register that at all, but yeah, I guess it was there.
It is a very, very deep voice. And it made me go like, because all we heard of his Superman was just like him whispering, take me home.
Yeah.
I'm like, how deep is his voice as Clark? Is he doing sort of a Batman situation in reverse? Is his voice really deep as Clark Kent and really light as Superman?
Other way around?
Or is he gonna do? Yeah, like I mean, well, if he goes deeper for Superman, Jesus Christ, it's gonna be like Vader up in
his
here.
voice actually is another weapon.
I'm like, how are you gonna argue for Trunks and then have like fucking
Subwoofers for voices?
Cumberbatch voice?
Yep.
Terrifying everybody. Oh my God! Not only does he fly, he's got the voice of a Cumberbatch. Which, you know what, that name Cumberbatch, that sounds right. I'm glad he voiced the Grinch. Now, his on his face, Cumberbatch sounds like a Dr. Seuss film.
It really does. It makes some sense in the credits. Yeah, you can't tell when the credits are rolling there or when they've just described another character. Cast or crew, who knows?
He's the angriest of all of his Cumberbatchmen.
From the Cumberbatch Forest.
You're a mean one, Cumberbatch. Boom. Anyway.
Something about Clark Kent's character that cracked me up. I showed a few women the trailer, including my wife, just to be like, all right, how do we feel? Let's check in. Let's do a vibe check on this Superman. What do we think?
Yeah.
And him as Superman, not a huge reaction at first, but it was usually when he's turning around in full Clark Kent in full hot nerd form. That was usually when the people I showed it to went, okay, nope, I'm in now. I got you.
Which is weird because I'm like, the suit is oversized, the hair is terrible, he looks like such a doof. Yeah. He actually looks fat too. He looks a little fat, and well, it's like the reason I say that is because one, he's kind of hunched over, which is all-star Frank Quietly brilliance. Is to have him hunched over and looking the little tubs.
Even Reeve hunched a little bit with his shoulders, didn't he?
Oh yeah. But like, they put him in such an oversized suit, that's like a fat guy trick
for sure.
That's like a fat guy's trick. Yeah. I say that as a fat guy, so I could speak on it. We don't like things that be real tight on us.
No, you round up a half size minimum.
Yeah. You don't want to see your jelly rolls there, and so It looks like he might be a bit tubbier than you would imagine.
Maybe.
Superman being.
That would be fun. He's just got a gut the entire time, but he's using his Kryptonian abs to push the skin out. You look under under the actual thing and pull it up, and it's just 24 abs now. Just a big sphere of ab, but you can't tell that with the shirt over. It just looks like a gut.
And that's how Frank Quietly did it, like for All-Star Superman. And if you go back to like the original, like if you look at some of like the old sketches and stuff that when they were doing the concept art for the book, that was like his take on it is like, no, Superman is going to hunch. And when he hunches, he kind of just like lets his face relax. So he's got a little bit of a chin, just a little bit of a flurb there. But then also he relaxes his stomach so much that like it, his giant abs just make him look fat while he's in this. So Clark Kent just looks like a tubby guy walking around. Like out of shape, reporter spends all of his day sitting at his desk, Everybody's like, yeah, that's not Superman.
Yeah. He just looks like a former, linebacker who's going to die like 10 years earlier than he could have otherwise.
Yeah.
So he basically looks like Steve.
I like it. I like that take.
It does work for good disguise.
It's better than just glasses.
Oh, yeah. Although, hey, I'll never forget the Times Square Cavill experiment. It has a place in my heart. They
recognized him. You realize that, right? Because it was Times Square. They recognized him. They just didn't give a shit. They're like, fuck you, Superman. Your movie sucked.
I'm on my fourth job today. Fuck you.
He just happened to go out there when people were too tired to accost him and spit on him.
Seems like that did crack me up. I just finished Supergirl, for instance, so there's like a moment at the end of that that's kind of Kara, come the fuck on. I do love moments like that, though, where somebody just goes, oh, come on, man, you had a pair of glasses on. What the fuck?
Yeah. You didn't even change your hair. Yeah.
That is something, now that I'm mired a little bit in the CW catching up, that is just a constant thing. We are making the assumption that covering any part of a face will obscure them do a lot of heavy lifting here. Just a lot of heavy lifting. Because at some point they're just showing up in the noon Vancouver sun with an eighth of inch of shit around their eyes, basically, and some eyeshadow. I mean, I guess I don't know this person now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll roll with it.
Everyone, I have never really seen this done, but it would be great if someone eventually at some point pointed out, dude, we all know, but we all know what happens to people who know the secret identities of superheroes. So we all pretend we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We're scared. We're like, shit, Steve from accounting is a fucking superhero.
Yeah. You're saying it's like the guy that, like, in a bank robbery, the person who refuses to look up from the floor, like, no. If I look up, I might see your face. You might have to kill me. No. I don't know who you are. I don't want to know who you are.
I have no idea who that man is, officer. I don't know
haven't
anything
asked.
about it. I don't know how many children he's got. I don't know what he does on the weekends when he's not superheroing. I mean, when he's not at work. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
There's a refrain in my Nero Wolf books that's not interested, not involved, not curious. I think that's it. It's the bulk of it, probably.
There's a conceit in. I'm sorry, this is Marvel, but there's a conceit in Marvel canon that Galactus does not look like, for real, does not look like a man in a giant purple helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Every race sees Galactus differently. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the cosmos, he is so he's bonded with a cosmic being. He's so grand and or horrific, much like Cthulhu. Your brain cannot handle what you are seeing, so you construct something you can understand. I like the idea that the people of the Marvel Universe on Earth, their lives are so bandied about by the doings of superheroes and supervillains that when they see the greatest existential threat they could possibly imagine, it looks like a fucking supervillain. It's just a man in a purple outfit and a giant purple helmet.
Yeah.
And that's what they see. Because, of course, that's what's going to end them.
I think most of our actual worst nightmares would just look like an accountant.
Like a nursing home lady.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Like, there's a nurse. She's giving me the wrong meds. Yeah. She's abusing me.
Been cold for 35 minutes.
If we were in the Marvel Universe, it was like, shit, it's Monday. Mm-hmm. Got to get up and go to work, try to make it in traffic, and there's probably going to be a fucking man in a purple helmet coming through the clouds to eat our city. I hope I can get to lunch before that happens.
Yeah.
I've got a meeting at 11, though, so probably not.
There would be a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man aspect to this. Imagine your worst fear, and it's just going to be like some assistant manager from your late 20s. It's not going to be that bad. Not as creative as we'd all like to think.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Anyway, moving on, because we've got so much to go. David Corenswet was talking about Superman's naivete. He says, I was always cut out of the drama when I was in school. Nobody ever cared to update me about it, and I never felt like I knew the exciting, juicy gossip that was going on. For that reason, I always sort of saw people as the best versions of themselves, and saw relationships as the best versions of themselves. I don't think it was in a terribly naive way. I think a lot of people consider Superman to be a naive character, at least to have a naivete about him. I think there's an element of that, but I think it really is just sort of a blindness to the little imperfections and the little conflicts, the silly little things that we get caught up with as people. I tend to miss those, and I think Superman misses those, and that's what keeps him steadfastly and determinately looking at the good and the hopeful and the future, and I'm grounded in the fun and playfulness of the present.
That actually works. But if Corenswet's married, it sounds like his wife does a lot of telling him after they leave a dinner party, oh my God, you didn't realize they're about to get divorced? What? They're not good? I thought they were good. Just does not, like, kind of golden retrievers it through life a little bit, yeah. Doesn't notice the hostile body language. Doesn't really think about it until you point it out.
Which I love that, because that might potentially be a lot of fun in a future friendship with Batman.
Yes, or a marriage with Lois, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to imagine between the three of them, there's a lot of moments like that where Lois and Bruce would just look at each other like, God damn it, this guy. Fuck. Oh,
but I love him.
But
I love the
God, if we
idea.
could punch him and it hurt, it would really hurt. It would really help me.
I do love the idea that, like, that would be something that Batman and Lois bonded on down the road. Like, yes, it's infuriating, but it might be our favorite thing about him is that, like, he's so big, like, he's so powerful, and he just sees the absolute best in everyone.
Any fucking thing coming. Well, why do you protect him? Because on the off chance that he's right about how to view the world, I will die to protect it.
Yeah, protect this man at all costs, sort of situation. Yes. Yeah, like he sees the best in all of us and reminds us that we can be better.
Yeah,
that's his function.
Yeah,
I see your purpose now.
Yeah, yeah.
Rachel Brosnahan talking about Lois and her grappling with the death of journalism.
Ooh,
who she is, how she sees.
I didn't know if they were going to keep papers as like a static idea in this. Think about it. Like in movies, papers are a lot of times just kept on some weird life support. Where like in the fictional universe, they're still there, like Pan Am or some shit.
Yeah, yeah. She says, I've always been inspired by this character. She's somebody who is ambitious and courageous and hungry and determined to get the greatest story almost at any cost. I've always loved this character and was so excited by the opportunity to bring all of those things that have been true of her in every iteration. One of the things I love about this character is that almost more than any other character in these comics and in the movies, she evolves to fit what it would mean to be an intrepid journalist of each generation or each decade that she's represented in. Or that she's presented in, I should say. So I think our challenge today, we're living in a world where print journalism, to some, is perhaps an endangered art form, and she's somebody who has dedicated her entire life to it.
See, that's fun. I haven't thought about that. It sounds true. It's the kind of bullshit I expect out of Rachel. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. She apparently teased that Lois Lane won't just be up against a world of fake news. She'll be one of the biggest bloodhounds on the hunt for truth in a world full of lies. She says, I think as far as what else is different, you'll have to check out the movie to see, but I love that she's somebody who doesn't understand what the word no means, and it's motivating for her. We definitely see that side of her in this film.
Yeah. Yeah, she gets it. She understands the assignment. We're going to be great.
Yep. On why she kisses Clark in the trailer, she says, I can't possibly say. I'll say it again. She works hard. She plays hard, and she loves hard. Mm-hmm. She's a lady with needs also that work cannot always fulfill. But
is she going to cheat on Superman with Clark or vice versa?
I don't know. But Gunn has said that this movie is going to be depicting a different take on the Lois Clark Superman relationship than we've previously seen. He says Superman's take on Lois and Clark's relationship will be more complicated and something that is fitting considering Lois is who she is. He says, it's just something that's completely us. The relationship between David and Rachel's characters on screen is something I don't think we've seen. I hate to say stuff like this, but I don't think it's something we've ever seen in any superhero movie. It's a complicated relationship, And we really get into it, and there's long scenes that are about their relationship and the way they relate to what it would be like for a person who's this incredibly intelligent, strong-headed, stubborn, skeptical journalist to have a relationship with someone who can lift a skyscraper.
I dig it.
Apparently, when asked if Lois knows who Superman or who Clark and Superman are, Gunn says, well, we'll see. She knows who Superman is. The only people that know Clark/Superman are his mom and dad and a few others who know who he is, and those are very different things. People said all sorts of different things. They said Clark's the real one. They said Superman's the real one and Clark's the secret identity. He said, but I don't. It says it in my script on the second page. I don't believe either of those things. I don't think anybody knows Superman unless they know both of him. And when they know both of him, they know the real guy. And that means not too many people.
Okay. I got a landscape for the feelers going forward, but that still gives me absolutely nothing as far as my plot. But, you know, that's what proper trailer one will be for, I suppose.
I know. I'm excited. Nicholas Hoult, talking about Luthor, says, I think with this Lex, I mean, obviously he's smart and ruthless and he has to outmaneuver Superman on certain levels because he can't match him in others. But there's also something about his character, hopefully from my standpoint, where even though you perhaps don't agree with his process, there's an element where you can understand on some levels where he's coming from and why perhaps what he's pushing as his ideology is perhaps better for humanity. I mean, it doesn't take much, I don't think, to get to a place where you might be rooting for Lex in this movie. I mean, considering more than half the country elected Donald Trump, you know, like, and are pro Elon Musk, you know, like we're dealing with like a billionaire who's running around angry about an illegal immigrant.
Yeah. That's the heart of the matter for the last 8 years here anyway.
That's Superman and
8 to 12 years here anyway.
Superman and Lex. That's what that is.
It's starting to feel familiar. Although it's something that, you know, if you write a decent enough villain, especially a Lex, there's usually some sanity to their argument if you wrote anything in there that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
I'm curious what we'll get out of him, especially if he's already acknowledging, there's some truth to it or there's some sense to it. It's, I feel like a lot of them boil down to basically the 50% Thanos thing, but just framed a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, even like,
just the, you know, we only have so many resources argument over and over again.
Yeah. As far as Lex and Superman are concerned, though, like, you can shit on the movie if you want, but BVS did it pretty well. Like Batman and Lex, the Batman and Lex argument for why we can't abide a Superman.
Yeah,
felt pretty true.
Yeah, it was a. I always thought, as far as its like stance goes, it told a pretty clear viewpoint and stood up pretty well.
Like, are we supposed to just like accept this dude's just always going to be altruistic? I don't fucking know. Yeah. Can we afford to assume that he will be? Because we kind of can't.
Yeah.
We got to figure out something to do in case he goes a little...
and then Lex focused more on just the symbology of the entire thing. You know, we always make it... No. We always make this a Jesus moment, but it's almost always actually a demon kind of moment.
Yeah.
No, they all had clear viewpoints.
We think that, apparently. Several people don't. But.
I mean, it's a quick rambling, but that speech on top of the... I guess that helipad speech toward the end makes a lot more sense than some people say it does, to me at least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Me too. It's like when I was a kid, I'd be like, I like X-Men and everything. But I gotta say, I kind of agree with the Mutant Registration Act. It's like, we probably should know who these people are. Cause,
and then somebody goes, okay, like, Tony.
Yeah. I'm just saying. He's some powerful assholes. We should probably know who they are and what they can do.
I do wonder at what point in your life, if what point in your trajectory, your age, or whatever's happened with you that makes you just slowly start to think the villains are making more sense.
Yeah, I don't know, but I feel like I'm a little more rational than that, because I'm like, okay, yes, I understand that the X-Men are stand-ins for black people and then gay people and any minority at the given time. Gotcha.
Coding, yeah.
Cool. Gotcha. All right. But that's not what we're talking about, though. Like, given a real world application, if people had the abilities that these people had, I need them to be registered, please.
Yeah.
We need to know who we're not talking about like, oh man, he got a blowjob last night. He needs to be registered. No, fuck that. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, that dude can like think about a nuclear bomb and then it goes off.
Yeah.
Or that guy can walk through walls. That guy could shapeshift into anybody and like pretend to be my wife and murder me in my sleep because I cut him off in traffic. There's the difference.
I agree. I mean, there's a part of me that'd be like, well, if you take it to the extreme, it's just not mountable. I mean, one, you'd have to life 360 these motherfuckers for it to matter. Like, let's say you had a power that could destroy one city. Well, okay, but I need to know which city that guy's in now, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess we could upgrade the tracking if we want to do anything with it. And then on the other hand, let's say it's another guy that like he can create black holes if he does something wrong. What the fuck does it matter if I know he exists or not? Because my life could just go away in about half an instant. I don't know. It doesn't affect me to know this man might fuck up and kill us all at any given second. That's not going to... I just need to live my life without it.
But if I'm thinking about it from a government standpoint, like...
What the fuck are they going to do with that guy? You know?
Well, you could do any number of things. You could give them like the mutation cure. If you could learn to sense it early... You can be like, oh, God, okay, well, here's what this mutant power is or whatever. Like, oh, man, let's just get rid of this. Let's just make it. Because if you get like a black hole guy, you're right back to like, we don't know what this mutant power is going to be or turn out to be. So we might need to go ahead and just neutralize it anyway before it gets to that
Which
point.
Is a fine instinct. But we have CERN doing that actively on a scale that we know is deeply, deeply, deeply small chances that something really might happen. But, like, it's not impossible. Yeah, here we are. They're just still doing their thing over there.
Yeah. I'm just saying,
And I still think there's something to the theory that since 2012 or whatever it was, things just haven't felt right.
You think there's something to that?
No, just only in my own anecdotal sense. Like, it was, I think there was some theory that CERN did something. They created some black hole in, like, I think it was 2016, maybe. Where, they created something in 2016, and, like, one theory... One really, really stupid, implausible theory was just, this is just a pocket time. We're not in the real timeline anymore. That's why everything sucks. And I was like, I haven't had a super fun run of certain things in a few years. So like, I feel like that could work. But even then, who would care? You're in the timeline. Fuck it. That's where you live now.
Everybody, all this happened since 2016 is fucking BVS didn't do as well as we wanted it to, and everyone got mad about it. Like... Other than that, the world's the same shitty place it's always been. I don't understand. But you know what's happened? You know what's happened since 2016 that's been great? A bunch of great Star Trek shit.
Yeah, that stuff really has been taken off. I keep forgetting. I want to go back for that eventually.
We got a bunch of, fun little revivals. Night Court came back, for Christ's sake. I mean... Got
another Frasier there.
Scrubs reboot is confirmed.
Oh, that's cool.
That's coming. Bill Lawrence is on a high. Like, I ain't mad about the last few years, honestly.
Lawrence has been doing great for the last decade.
But, I also come from somewhat unhappy environment as a kid. So, with some substance abuse and shit. So, my life as an adult is way better. I'm not like all these people are like sitting around with their like jacking off their nostalgic dick and going, no, things haven't been the same. The light doesn't hit the earth on the right way anymore and it doesn't feel right. I'm like, hey, I'm not living in a constant den of anxiety and drama.
Mm-hmm. So lowercase w at worst, right?
Yeah. Like, fuck off with your crybaby shit about having to adult.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it is. That's what it is. People are upset that they have to work. I mean, yeah, it sucks. And no, people aren't making the money they should make. They just aren't.
Varying degrees of how much I'm angry about that on a day. Sometimes even happy about it. Depends.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, I'd much rather be in more in control of my circumstances as an adult than just being forced to be in a hellacious or on the outskirts of a hellacious marriage that won't fucking end.
Yeah.
Even though it desperately should. Anyway, we're getting into my past. My childhood.
The thing this trailer was meant to save you from.
Hey, you know what? Don't always stay together for the kids.
Quick PSA.
There's a lot of times that's not a real thing. sometimes you're actually staying together. The real answer is you're staying together because of your toxic codependency. Oh, I hope my family never listens to this.
It's like sometimes you're just staying together because you're too lazy to die. Just about the meanest way to put
it. Jesus. Oh my God.
Yeah, Superman would be proud of that.
Yeah, no. We just took a dark turn. Anyway, let's see. James Gunn says, I wrote up this big document on action and what our philosophy is of action and how we shoot it and what it is and keeping it alive in the air as well as on the ground. And to be able to shoot stuff in the sky as if we were shooting it because everything was rougher. Like it's in Guardians of the Galaxy, like it's in the Suicide Squad, and being able to shoot stuff in the sky like that is really hard. So we took a lot from films like Top Gun Maverick, which we are shooting flying things. We shoot a lot of our action with actual drones flying in and around Superman and the people that he's flying with, the engineer, whoever else that he's fighting up in the air. And we did that on sound stages. We got these really small, crazy drones now. We've got some of the best flyers in the world here who are working with it. And so we use those guys a lot. And everything's planned out with me, as it always is. But at the same time, I've gotten even more into finding new stuff on the set and new moments and exploring that stuff, finding magic where it is. That sounds cool. Mm-hmm. I want to believe a man can fly differently than I have before.
And they're going to employ drones to make it happen.
I'm all right.
I haven't thought about how much sense that makes, but yeah. And yeah, you'd have to have like some deeply skilled, drone aviators to do it. It would be really hard to, if you're, I don't know how you would articulate where you want the camera to be to a drone. That would really fuck me up trying to explain.
Well, thank you, Jason, because you've introduced a phrase to me now.
What?
And now in my head, I'm just going, drone aviators, drone aviators, drone aviators. You son of a bitch. It's not your fault. It's my brain. James Gunn answering about the Superman runtime. Thank you, James. Thank you so much. He says Superman is well under 3 hours and then says under 2.5.
Okay. So between 2 and 2:20-ish.
I felt the relief. Like my blood pressure dropped. I felt the relief of not having to piss.
Oh, okay.
From in theater.
Yeah. Well, that's a good starting point too. You don't want, too little or too much wouldn't have been a problem. Too much is just, I wonder about how much I enjoy that at this point in my life.
Yeah.
I enjoy them much more when I get to pause it. But still, I don't have 3 hours I can typically pill out to do anything all that focused. So
yeah,
I don't know how much I enjoy a 3 hour film really. And when I when I have to actually sit down and do it in one experience, it's just hard to do. Then again, if you put out like an hour 20, it'd be like, oh shit, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think
would have been great. 40.
I was actually thinking about it, and I think my range is my cutoff point about where I think, okay, if you're doing a movie, it needs to be longer than it needs to be 90 minutes or longer, and my absolute lowest amount of time is 88 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've decided. Just 88 minutes feels right. Like if it's 88 minutes, we're on the cusp of you probably just shouldn't have made the movie. Like if all you had to say could be summed up that quick, like, there's something wrong.
At 87 minutes, you're thinking, okay, what you did was you need to cut half of that now and just make a really cool short film.
Right. If it's 88 minutes, I'm already there. I'm already thinking like you left something else that you needed to have in there. Yeah. However, man, I really I grimace when I hear a movie is 2.5 hours.
I get it.
I just don't want to sit in a theater.
No, it does add up. I don't.
And also, like when you make a fucking 2.5, 3 hour movie, that actually determines my rewatchability more than any of the content actually does right offhand. Like I went into the Batman knowing I might love this movie, and if I do, I better try to remember it because I'm not watching it very often.
Because it's only going to come up once every couple of years now.
Like, who's got time to sit there for over 3 hours watching Robert Pattinson skulk around in the dark? Yeah, it could be cool as shit, but I don't have time for that.
I think that's where I am with it. I've seen it once in theater and I think once more, but it was across several viewings.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of the movie. It's definitely enough times passed that I could watch it mostly fresh now, but if I had to just gauge the temperature on that, I'm probably about a year out from watching that right now.
Yeah. I mean, I rewatched it before watching The Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going back for that for a while. I might. You know what? I'm probably not even for the sequel. I'll probably watch a recap.
Honestly, because I didn't before The Penguin, I'll probably just watch it before the sequel and be happy.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I love a short runtime.
I do like about 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's an easy fit. Feels like you can shove it into the afternoon, put it on the background even, really get into it, get out of it in the same space. I don't have to arrange my day around a rewatch.
And that takes some doing. And I don't even have kids. I know you have one.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do anything.
In pairs. That's how dogs got washed today. As a team.
Okay. But you only have one kid. How do you wash your kid in
No,
pairs?
I was the other part of the pair. There was a pair of us washing the dogs.
Oh.
And that's how we accomplished that today.
Okay.
I'm honestly just happy that not a single skull hit the tile floor. Small wins matter.
All right. I'm gonna schedule us another little break right here at an hour and 30. We've got a lot more to come. We're still not out of Superman.
Good Lord.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
It can get lonely climbing Mount McKinley, so to entertain myself, I go to ChumbaCasino.com. At Chumba Casino, I can play hundreds of online casino-style games for free, like online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Plus, I get a daily login bonus. It's just too bad that up here, I don't have anyone to share my excitement with. Woohoo!
Live the Chumba life. Anytime, anywhere. Play for free now at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
James Gunn was talking about why he dropped Legacy from the Superman title. He says, I still think it has that aspect of legacy in it. We do this thing called the pre-mortem before we start shooting. You ever hear of this? It's great. We go into a room, and all the department heads, and we say, let's say this movie is a colossal fuck up. We find out 2 years from now, when this movie comes out, it goes terribly wrong. What are we doing right now that we're not talking about, that we're doing this, making this movie wrong? It gives a chance for all the parties involved to speak their mind, whether it's about the script, whether it's about the casting, about how the departments aren't communicating with each other. Everybody is allowed, from transportation to whatever, they're all allowed to say what they think, and I found it extremely helpful. One of the things was, I thought maybe the title had a looking back feeling about it, and this isn't about looking back, it's about looking forward. When you see this movie, you'll understand where legacy comes from, because it is, again, it's about Clark and his relationship to the script, and whose legacy is he really, and so it's about that. But I think as a title, it felt too looking back, and I absolutely understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I'd call it a good edit.
More than anything, though, I included that because I thought you, much like me, would get a kick out of the idea of the pre-mortem. I love that concept.
I didn't know that was the word. I do that. Yeah, I do that at work.
That's awesome.
Did not know that was the word for it. I've basically, the way I do it is, the way I describe it at least is, okay, if I had to do this again and was cussing at it, why would I be cussing at myself?
Now, Comic Book was talking to James Gunn on the Superman set earlier this year. There were some other journalists there. And he gave a little more insight into Superman's career at this point, how the movie is not an origin movie. It's starting in the middle of Superman's career. He says, it was a lot of these things in this movie now that I've been making it for over a year that I think of as normal. But now that you bring it up, there's some stuff that I go, oh yeah, that's pretty unusual. We just start in the middle of the action. Superman already exists. Lois and Clark already know each other. Lex hates Superman's guts from the beginning, although they don't know each other personally. So we start right in the middle of the action. It takes place over a short amount of time. And that is something that's not like very common in superhero movies anymore.
No, it isn't. But it's something that I saw a ton of praise for in comments, videos, with all the reactions I saw. Basically a lot of, man, we know the origin. We know the origin. Thanks for getting us past that. We didn't have to spend 15 minutes on it.
But also, we are in a world where for the last several years, not only are we getting standalone comic book origin films where we're like, setting it up. And when you're like, hey, why didn't this and this happen? That they always want to say, well, this is like more like the proto version of the character. They're not really them yet. Dude, just show me the fucking character.
Yeah, this is going to be,
We just watched fucking 10 years of Lex not being Lex, Clark not being Clark on Smallville. 8 years of Arrow not being Green Arrow yet. He's the Hood. He's the Arrow. He's the
6 years of Proto Joker on Gotham.
Yeah, like just show me the characters.
Yeah, I mean, this is a full T on Terrific's face kind of. These are full versions of people, and I think we're all going to be very happy about saving that time. But we've seen Gunn's style. I mean, you've seen it already in Creature Commandos. We know the style he likes anyway for this. He's probably just going to favor little flashback scenes in the middle of something and pin the little vignettes in a meaningful moment, and you'll get your little backstory.
If they're applicable.
It'll be great.
If they're applicable. And, I'm just tired of the, well, they're not them yet. Well, Superman's not Superman yet. We've got to have a trilogy or 5 movies, and 2 of them don't happen. And Jesus Christ, just appropriately, we're now at the part where James Gunn reveals how Zack Snyder, Richard Donner, and All-Star Superman influenced his reboot. Gunn says, I think that all previous DC media influenced me. I think that obviously the original Donner movie influenced me, but there's also a lot of things that this isn't like I'm just making a Donner type movie. It's very different from that. Zack did some excellent stuff. There's a lot of stuff from the comic books above and beyond anything else. It's All-Star Superman that influenced me more than anything. He says that the inspiration manifests in the film's embrace of classic superhero elements. He says he had a desire to take that sort of Silver Age feel, that sort of science fiction approach to it with gadgets. Lex is really a sort of sorcerer in a way. He's a scientist, but he's so good at science. And I think of him as a sorcerer. I love that idea. I feel like we haven't seen, I don't like when you look at that trailer, I don't feel like you can really deny the influence of Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there are definitely shots in that trailer that go like, oh, that's Zack. That's, that's a bit of a love letter, an homage to what Zack did. There are absolutely tons of Reeves stuff.
The little girl alone is a very particular one that hits you right in the face with the trailer.
But, also one of the things I felt like I was looking at in that trailer was a love letter to the Silver Age. With your kaiju and your super science and all of the stuff that like big weird shit that I have been longing for
in a fucking
forever. Yeah, like you get these comic book movies and they try to like dumb it down, like, oh well, the X-Men can't wear their yellow and blue tights. They gotta wear all black leather because they gotta be like Keaton's Batman, which in of itself was a weird. Well, we don't want to look like Adam West Batman, so let's do something dark and edgy. I'm like, I want to see the comic books that I've been reading. Yeah. I want to see this make sense in live action. Like, I don't want to...
You want a little, like, gray and blue kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just want to see the weirdest aspects of DC because, like, that's one of the things, like, I will get people online who are like, you don't even read comics. And I'm like, no, you dumbass. I do. That's the point. Like, I have read comics that happened before 1986.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
don't
after.
just want to see, I don't just want to see, Frank Miller's dark and gritty take that everyone emulated for fucking ever. Like, I want to see the weird shit. I don't want to see the dumbed down version because it's not realistic, or we didn't want to do this because we didn't have the money to do it. Like, no, give me Mixia Spitlick. Give me weird shit. I want to see weird shit.
I mean, I think it balanced. Like, right now, you want to see weird shit. 10, 15 years, you'll probably want to bounce back. Like, the Miller area, it saved comics financially. And
It did.
I think it ended up, in my view, it ended up being less that, like, no, that's what everyone really wanted to see the whole time. No, it was more just proof that you could do the other thing, and everyone would also buy that. But, as a whole, we're just going to bounce back and forth a little between them.
Yeah, and I think
But
that's,
Gunn has his
that's
finger
gonna
on the
be-
pulse, though. This is what we wanted right now, I think.
Yeah, and I think importantly though, like, Gunn has talked about how the DC universe is not going to be like Marvel, and it's not going to be like the Zack Snyder verse in that every film is the same tone. This is going to be like, bouncing back and forth, like you're saying, like, yeah, this Batman movie, yeah, you're going to have some ninjas, and you're going to have some gangsters, and you're going to have some guns, and it's going to be like a good street level bullshit. And then like this one over here is going to be like, well, there's a kaiju and someone from the fifth dimension, and Batmites floating around over here, and Peacemaker, and whatever's happening. I don't know, but
Like, when you were getting pull lists, like when you had a weekly, for instance, let's say you had like 6 or 8 that were hitting one week. They had different tones. Like, did you not kind of organize which one you read first based a little bit on what mood you were in?
oh yeah,
And,
yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, I feel like I have the depth right now to really focus on something a little bit dark, a little bit thick. Let's do these couple, and then all right, let's finish with the. I mean, kind of like how people arranged Barbenheimer this year around like, we're gonna cleanse our palate with Barbie.
Yeah. Like in my heyday, like I would usually start out with Spider-Man or Robin because those were lighter fare, or Spider-Man and Batgirl. This was the Cassandra Cain Batgirl. I loved that book. Damian Scott's artwork in that was like really light, but still it was dark too. It was a dark premise, just in a dark character, like her backstory and whatnot. But the book itself was light and a bit fun. So I mean, I had my little, like, from time to, like, there were certain creators that I would navigate towards. Like, I really loved the Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness run on Superman, for instance. Because it was like kind of a cartoony anime feel, but Jeff Loeb just gets that character so well, and he's one that did all seasons seasons, and
A classic feel good.
yeah. It's just always like, yes, this is what I wanted. But then on another day, I'm like, okay, well, let's dig into some of this, Grant Morrison Batman or whatever, whatever it was. Let's get into Gotham Knights.
Or you ever just let them pile up, and like one Saturday you grab just the sad ones and go, okay, we're gonna get through these today. Or the happy ones later.
No, that too. That was usually where I kind of usually had to get my nerve up to get into some J. Michael Straczynski Spider-Man. I'm like, you're going to do something weird, and there's going to be like spider totems and fucking goblin twins.
Yeah. I tend to do like a little plumb for how much emotional depth do I think I have available before I get into certain kinds of products right at a moment. I'll look through TV time and scroll sometimes. I can't handle any of that right now. We're going to have to figure something else out.
Yeah. But, they're also like, you'd have stuff like Grant Morrison. You're like, oh, yeah, Grant Morrison's JLA was always like a really fun read for me. But then, like, other times you'd pick up a Grant Morrison and be like, I can't make heads or tails of this.
With him, sometimes I can't be that heady right this second.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I'm feeling way more terrestrial than what I can consume at this moment. Sorry, Grant. We're going to come back for you when I'm feeling a little more chipper.
Yeah. Anyway, probably need to move on, but I'm excited to see some of the weird shit in DC on screen. And we'll talk about it on DC on screen.
Ad nauseum.
So Gunn was talking to Josh Horowitz on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, and he was again talking about some key Silver Age elements that we'll be seeing on the big screen. He says, I don't think we've ever seen the big science fiction Silver Age Superman aspects that we have in our movie. And we've never seen, you'll see it when the movie comes out, but we've never seen this specific part of Superman's life. I don't think we've ever seen the Lex that Nick is. Nick is imposing. You go, oh fuck, poor Superman. That's the thing. That's the thing we never see, and not in film. Sometimes in the comics you go, oh, Superman's fucked because Lex is so smart and good at what he's doing. But in the movies, you're going, Lex is about to get fucked. You see now where Lex is. He's not the person you want to have against you.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That is nice.
We didn't see any of Wendell Pierce as Perry White in the trailer, but Wendell did post a picture of himself chomping a big cigar, in the Daily Planet set, looking like Perry White. He got the vest and everything.
I'd forgotten he was going to be in there until he was mentioned in somebody's comment. No, I think he was mentioned like the Variety article. And Perry White, so-and-so. Oh, yeah, he is in that. Shit.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Didn't see him.
Mm-hmm. All right. So there was a dinner with the cast where James Gunn summed up what he wanted for Superman. He says, I knew that I wanted to have a Superman that stayed true to his origins of being the ultimate good guy. It's a movie about kindness, a movie about being good. When we had our cast dinner the night before we started shooting, I was like, at the end of the day, the world doesn't always seem to have so much good in it. And this movie has to truly be that. And that means that we have to be good to each other. We had to be good to the crew, and it had to be that authentically. I liked that.
Well, we're going to be nice when we do this rally.
That's right. Someone asked, please tell me that Crypto was performed by Sean Gunn in a motion capture suit. And James said, most of the Crypto moments are based on iPhone video footage of my dog.
That's good.
That is
I would love to have seen backstage footage of Sean Gunn crouched over Corenswet in that pose.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if they could just pull that together for me, it'd be fantastic.
That would be great. So once again, the rumors going around that Superman had a total reported production budget of $363 million. There's also some sort of weird tax paper going around. Someone said, James, is this true? James said, no, good God. I wish I had somewhere even close to that.
Yeah.
And they said, is the tax document, quote unquote, that keeps getting shared faked? I've had doubts about that considering most big budget movies really cap out around $250 million or so. But even that is a huge number. I was thinking Superman budget was likely more around $150. And Gunn says, I don't know if it's faked or if it's just some weird foreman assistant in the Cleveland office filled out, putting random stuff in the blanks. I sent it to our accountants and financial producers when it first came out over a year ago, and no one knew what it was. I could just tell you it wasn't anyone on our team.
Yeah. So no actual truthful source for that. Gotcha. Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah.
100 and 150
which we've said
sounds right too, by the way.
Yeah. Talking about the connections to lanterns. They were talking about or asking about moments in the film setting up sequels and spinoffs and other stories. And he says, yes, there are those. He says maybe two little things, two moments. Basically, if something is there just to set up something else, fuck it, though. For all I know, those things can be cut by the time we get to the editing room because something has to exist for this movie. And if that works at tandem with setting up characters that exist in other media, then that's great. If Superman sets up stuff at Peacemaker, which it does, then that's great. But that is never, ever, ever with me going to be something that I'm going to sacrifice even a moment or a beat in a story for, especially a movie. With TV, you've got a little more leniency to be able to do that. But in a movie, every beat has to be there for the movie itself. Everything needs to stand by itself. I don't want somebody to have to go see this movie and be relying on something else. Now listen, once we get down the line, that might change a little. In Guardians, What did you have to see in Guardians 3 to really understand it? You'd be better off seeing the first 2 Guardians, but even Avengers Infinity War. I explained it in the elevator, the whole plot. It's like trying to keep things as simple as possible so you don't have to have homework, especially TV shows that some people aren't into. And I asked about Superman feeding into lanterns. Gunn said, are seeds being planted? Yes, there are seeds being planted. But that is never going to be the predominant thing in any scene for me. It's always about getting to the next scene. What's in the moment? How are you making this movie the best it can be? And it's going to stay like that as much as I can possibly make it like that.
I dig it. That breakdown of like the campfire side style speech, I guess. Like, hey, wait, don't get used to that though. Eventually, it is going to have to get complicated if you want to tell a real story.
Well, yeah.
He's told us all that to begin with, though. That it's all going to be present for it. Right now, there's not a ton to watch. You can literally just watch Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, maybe the Suicide Squad if you feel like it.
Yeah, Suicide Squad if you feel like it.
And then even that's kind of extra homework. You don't really have to.
No, you don't have to watch any of that.
So it's light, breezy, early days. That's how they get you.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, 6 years from now, we're got a whole list like we did last time. It's okay though. I mean, like we know it might go that way. It's fine.
Yeah, these days I'm basically like, what's a Marvel?
Yeah.
I can't be bothered with that right now. I'm going to watch a Bill Lawrence show about sad therapists. And forget that I have like 37 hours of Marvel to catch up on.
I think I'm caught up on everything that's not like the last season of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something, but there's still really a lot of really fun stuff happening in Marvel, but no, it doesn't hit and feel like it used to.
Well, I mean, I'm not sitting here going like, oh, well, they went woke or whatever, MCU, whatever. I'm not doing all that. I'm just like literally just tired and behind.
No, it's just that we all got busy and the formula got a little stale for a second.
It may have gotten a little stale. I don't know. I haven't really caught up. What I've seen, I've liked, but I also just get tired of watching superheroes. I say that, but then I see something like the Superman trailer, and
then you're back in. Yeah, I would like to say that
yeah.
I get tired of that, but when I actually sit down and go through a lot of shows, it really is a bunch of weird. So like something like Shrinking might be about the most down to earth thing I watch for a while. Like there'll be a Ted Lasso or that or something for a minute, but the rest of my viewing habits are going to be like Ghosts or just any.
Just
just nothing that can be happening in the real world for me to be tuned into it.
Oh man, well look, January's coming. We got Severance coming up.
Yeah,
second season of Severance. That's going to be great. Mythic Quest is coming. Both the next season and the little 4-episode spinoff.
Here's a fun example of like, I know that's a show about actual humans doing normal people stuff, but it doesn't feel like that feels different to me in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about upcoming
terrestrial television
shows. Yes, that aren't super powered,
non-cape genred.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go back. Superman. During the promotional tour for Creature Commandos, THR asked Gunn if plans for a live-action GI robot had been discussed and how they'd be doing that. And he says, yeah, we've talked about all of these characters in live action and how we would do them. If we did them in live action, I don't want to give away any secrets. But we use some technology in Superman that's completely new in regards to this kind of stuff. So we would know exactly how to do GI robot. So I'm like, okay, girl, you done come up with something with Helix. Okay. Yes, sir.
That's cool though.
Yeah. Now there was a rumor going around that there were reshoots happening on Superman. Usual Suspects were very happy about that. Gunn said they asked if on Threads they asked if that's true, and Gunn said sort of. Not a few days. We're doing a day and a half of pickup shots. No scenes, no reshoots. Just a handful of individual shots to enhance the film.
This feels weird. Like I feel like that's the actual answer for once. I'm used to bouncing around it.
I do.
I'm used to bouncing around. Well, they might say that. It might be this. And like, no, he just actually laid it out. No, not a reshoot, not re-scene. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like Gunn, though, if he did have to do reshoots, he would have been like, yeah, it's rare for me, but yeah, sometimes shit gets fucked up and you have to do a reshoot.
Well, I mean, we just did 20 minutes ago. We were just talking about how they rewrote the title. I mean,
Yeah.
especially before the fact, when they're still in the editing stage and you're still standing behind your work and you haven't even had to be graded by it yet. Yeah, I feel like he'd definitely come back to it. Yeah, we really thought a couple scenes could be done a different way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, in regards to the score from John Murphy, he says there are nods to Williams, and then also John Murphy's created this incredibly beautiful score. But the one thing is, it is a score. It's not a soundtrack, so it's not about the songs. There's a few songs in it, and of course, I chose those songs beforehand. But it isn't like any of my previous films, really. The score is what drives it. It's a much, much more of a score film.
It's funny. He's halfway through that explanation. I wondered why you and he were being so specific about that. And then when he brings up his past, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. People were expecting like, okay, a playlist. I see. My bad.
Yeah.
Slipped my mind for a second there.
I mean, he's also like pimping his like Creature Commandos playlist every week on Spotify.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates, and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's Zola.com.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Speaking with IO9, Gunn admitted that making Superman has been an overwhelming experience, and he says, I'm miserable. He says, really, I'm miserable, but hopefully it's for the greater good. And he says a lot is riding on Superman. I mean, we're not just going to keep making movies. So if it doesn't do well, that's probably it. Based on the trailer, and the way that everyone has reacted to it, I think it'll do gangbusters, dude. I think it'll blow up. I don't see it making less than 700 million.
No.
Honestly,
not that its predecessor didn't break 8, but still, like I think it's going to be safe because we're not too far from it actually air. This isn't something that's coming out in 2027. We're actually coming up on it. It'll be faster than we think, and from the comments, the reactions, all that, like I felt like people actually were ready to see this. Not that just it looked good and looked like it had some quality, because predecessors have too. It looked like people were actually ready for this thing. Mm-hmm. Just a big difference. It
seems like the right time. It's like, look, something like, and this has been said of Zack and his movies forever, like Watchmen, for instance. So it's nothing new, but I think they were before their time. Mm-hmm. Like we had just gotten the Avengers. We weren't ready for deconstruction. This bullshit. We wanted to see the characters being the characters, and then, people wanted to see them slowly deconstructed over the series of several movies. They didn't want to start out deconstructed.
Yeah, might have just been off tempo.
It was just.
I do miss the excitement though, of like actually having people looking at that logo again and hoping. Like, I kind of remembered. Back in the days of like when Man of Steel was back in theaters, just going to play. I was just going to like play some pool at a local bowling alley or something, and walking across the parking lot I had a Superman shirt, and somebody shouted like "Jor-El!" I was like, "Yeah, man." I didn't want to point out that wasn't what I didn't want to go into it. I was happy they knew the name, and were excited about seeing the logo somewhere. Like that part was nice. I enjoyed that time a little bit. This felt the same, but even better, I guess.
Yeah. It's just nice to like, because even though like I wasn't a huge fan of Man of Steel out of the gate, I still liked it okay. Like, and I was open to more of that.
You did like it more than I give you credit for in our recording sometimes.
Yeah. Like, I liked it more than anyone who is an old listener of ours get. Like, they're like, oh, I remember you hated it. I'm like, no, I didn't. I said in that review, it's a fucking 3-hour review. And I sit there and talk about like, yeah, I'll bring up shit that I didn't like, but I'm also like, I didn't hate it. I like this and this.
I think you still had it as like a 7 or something, right? Like, you know, just to rough it out. But like, it was just that we made it a point to really fight over those last couple points.
Yeah. I mean, there were things that I still don't like about the movie, but that's not like, I feel like that's true of anything.
Sure.
That there's always going to be something where I'm like,
I have a couple spots I'd love to take a scrub brush to, but like, I still love it. But also,
I'm a Superman fan. I get it. I've read a ton of shit. And so I'm like, when I watch a movie, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm okay with that being deconstructed there. Maybe I'm okay with this. I kind of wish they'd done this because I've seen it done 15 other ways that I liked better. You know, like, I'm sorry. Like, that's just bound to happen. Yeah. And as I've gotten older, I've become more open-minded to new takes. And, you know, that happens too. The more you see, the more you're open to shit. Are you caught up on Creature Commandos? Dude. That flash forward. Gorilla Grodd.
Oh, I didn't freeze frame the flash forward. But you're right. I mean, Gorilla Grodd would be there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he was there. You didn't need to freeze frame it on that one. Now, interestingly, and I did ask James about this on Threads, and he hasn't responded yet. But there are shots where we see that Starfire is impaled next to Superman on his right, and Mr. Terrific is impaled next to Superman on his left. But then in other shots is Batman on the right and Wonder Woman on Superman's left, and there's no Starfire or Mr. Terrific to be seen. So I was asking James if that means that the future is actively changing or in flux,
or that her clairvoyance is inconsistent.
Yeah. I didn't ask that part, but yeah. So anyway, but we do see Supergirl on the pike impaled. We see Hawkgirl. We see a young looking Robin.
I saw a Peacemaker on the ground.
There's a Peacemaker on the ground. There's a Vigilante on a pike.
Catch that.
There's a Judo Master's on the pike.
See, this is why I wanted to freeze frame that. There was a lot going on in that section.
Now, there's an article, or the people are asking if Wally West was in there. I thought it looked like Booster Gold. But Dean Laurie said, "Yeah, I think that was Wally in there." But yeah, I don't know if that was Wally though. It was like it's a Kid Flash because and he said, "I would say that James was very clear from the start that this is canon. So he did have to be very careful with what we were doing. And the truth is, I haven't read Superman." I haven't seen Superman. I don't know what his plans are with the DCU in general, but for us, it was a question of him being very meticulous, going through scripts and saying, I want this here. I'd like to have this character in the background here. He was very thoughtful about all of that stuff, so I don't know what it leads to, but I do know that he means this to be canon, and it was taken seriously.
Okay. That was not a throwaway sequence.
That makes me feel like the characters being in different places was intentional.
That is true. I'm impressed you made it back for that. I finished the episode and all I could think is Free Weasel. I just fucking hashtag Free Weasel. I just spent the last few moments of that episode just with like tears hitting my crossed legs. I honestly, how much that impact probably had on the future completely slipped my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking about it later that like, oh yeah, I guess that would have been Corenswet, and I don't know who the Wonder Woman must have been. And, like, I remember pondering it a little bit, but I didn't make it back in a real analytical way.
I saw some people posting the shot of Batman dead on the pike, and being like, well, I guess this is Gunn's confirmation that it's going to be Alan Ritchson playing Batman. It's like, what? I saw a man in a bat suit looking down and in shadows, like he's dead. Like where did we get?
Buff?
Like I didn't see a body type or anything. He's covered in cape. I don't understand. What are we talking about? But yeah, no, I was happy to see some iteration of Batman and Wonder Woman. By the way, if you look at that Batman, he's got a collar.
Oh, okay.
He's got a collar like
Gotham
by Gaslight or Pattinson.
Oh, that kind of high collar. All right. So, okay.
Yeah.
We're doing collars here. All right.
But again, this might not lead to anything. I'm talking about Batman.
I'm just thinking like, I liked the collar on Superman here. So like, okay. Well, style works for me. I go back and forth on collars.
I mean, it's
they
like
can be really cool.
Little like a little baby Nosferatu collar,
nice.
You know? Yeah, I mean, who knows if we'll actually see that? It might, they might just be like, well, that was like where the cape kind of ridged up for a second. It wasn't really a collar. Okay.
There was a bit of extra noose still left. This wasn't the first way we killed him. We were extra mad.
So this never occurred to me. But apparently some fans were upset that James Gunn appears in the Creature Commandos opening sequence. Apparently some people thought that means that James Gunn exists in the DCU as some godlike version of himself, which would be fun, honestly, to me.
I mean, I remember when we talked about Commandos on this, I had a moment myself where, like, when I saw the first episode and saw his character, I had that same little micro moment, but then I moved on and realized he just made himself a little title card and thought, well, you know what? If you got it, flaunt it, buddy.
But he didn't, though. He didn't. Apparently, showrunner Dean Lorey said it was his idea. He said James had a credit, and we were trying to figure it out. We gave all the characters sort of little moments, and we were like, James is kind of a character. We should give him something. And they made it. They kept James Gunn in the dark throughout the whole process. And he's like, watching the opening credits was like a shock for Gunn, and he wasn't completely into it. He said, that's not. But he's like, yeah, that's not canon. Like, he's not in the show. He says, the universe. He's like, Gunn says, I was surprised and my ego was stroked. And I was like, oh my God, please don't let people think that I told them to animate me. And Laurie says, Gunn did not give the order to turn him into the animated character. He says, I can tell you for the record, he didn't ask to be animated. We were thrilled to present it. And nervously, we presented it a little bit. Gunn said, yeah, overall, let it slide. But yeah, that was not a Gunn decision.
I mean, it's a fun backstory. I was honestly okay with it if he had slipped himself in. Like, yeah, man, do it. You're betting the whole farm on this thing.
Yeah, I liked it. Did you see this Hollywood Reporter says that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow starts filming in January?
No, I didn't.
January this year in England. It's got a 2026 release date.
Yeah.
I am so excited about that shit. One of our listeners wrote in and was like, don't you understand? They're setting us up. They have Crypto in the Superman trailer. You know what happens to Crypto and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow?
No, I don't.
Do you know?
I don't. No, I'm afraid.
Well, don't be. Because, yes, Crypto does die in the story, but at the end it turns out that was, not true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Crypto's fine.
I mean, genuinely, that's the only drawback of introducing a Crypto. I think a lot of people have the same experience of like, okay, now I have the cute dog. If you do anything to harm a hair on that motherfucker's body.
No. I hate giving spoilers like that for a graphic novel, but
terrible to us.
Well, I do hate giving spoilers for that, but I feel like that's one of the times when it's actually when a dog is involved that everyone already is falling in love with. Nobody cares about spoilers. They're like, is the dog okay? I'm not going to watch the fucking thing unless you tell me the dog is okay. Is the dog okay?
Yeah, during the Deceased run from Tom Taylor, there was a spot somewhere in there where I remember tweeting at Tom Taylor just in vain, please, for the love of God, let this dog get through this or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we were losing.
Hey, it is Ryan Seacrest. There's something so thrilling about playing Chumba Casino. Maybe it's the simple reminder that with a little luck, anything is possible. ChumbaCasino.com has hundreds of social casino-style games to choose from with new game releases each week. Play for free anytime, anywhere for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Every issue.
That's funny. All right, so moving on to the epic crime saga, the Batman epic crime I can't say that. The Batman epic crime saga. Matt Reeves confirmed that they are talking about Penguin season 2.
Okay.
That was in a new interview with Variety. And it was a fun interview. Go check that out, y'all. It was Matt Reeves and Zoe Kravitz just talking about, she's talking about her new movie that she directed with Channing Tatum. That
Blink Twice or
whatever. I don't remember what it's called. Actually, it's like the billionaire taking women to islands kind of thing. I think the book was called Pussy Island, and they were like, well, we couldn't call it that.
I just saw somewhere something about a premiere and Tatum was there, and I think it was called Blink Twice. That's all I had.
Oh yeah, it's probably what it is. Yeah, it's like a suspense movie where he's like taking women to this island and fucked up shit starts happening. But it was kind of neat, and that interview is cool because Zoe is talking to Matt about like how on the Batman she would have ideas and he would be like, well, come over here, let's look at the monitor, and like he kind of like meticulously helped her like figure out like what as a director you should be looking for, and he would like listen to her and be like, yeah, and this, and she was like, you were just so meticulous about it. She says, you're an incredibly meticulous filmmaker. I just asked you how it's going with writing and you said slow, and I think that's a wonderful quality because you care so much. She's talking about writing part two of Batman. And he says about the Batman Part 2, he says, we're finishing the script. We're going to be shooting next year. And he says, we're talking to showrunner Lauren LaFranc about doing another season of Penguin. That was a special experience. I feel really fortunate. These characters don't belong to me. They belong to the world. It comes down to whether you can approach them in a way that expresses something personal. Anyway, it was a great little interview. And she really praised him for being like, the kind of guy who take time to kind of mentor her a bit, and doesn't just close the door and be like, you're an actor. Go away, lady. You're a pretty actor. Go over there.
He does crack me up when I've seen
man's work.
I haven't seen a lot of like him behind the scenes stuff, but he always has like an Andy Daly-ish kind of chipper vibe to him, and like then you see the stuff he makes. There's a mismatch there to me. He just doesn't look like he's some brooding character in an actual interview. He seems like he has a decent time at life. And then his stuff's tone has some deeply scarring shit in it. So it's fun to see him later. Looking all Ted Lasso-ish at times.
Yeah. Gunn said that he has contemplated making Pattinson's Batman, the DCU Batman, on Happy, Sad, Confused. He says, I contemplate everything. We talk about everything. You'd be an idiot not to consider it.
Yeah.
But he did say that he's committed, DC Studios is committed to telling the Elseworld stories. He says, I want the freedom to tell Elseworld stories. We want to be able to tell a story in which Superman is very different from his DCU counterpart. We want to play with these characters in different ways. One of the things I love about DC over Marvel comic books is that those things are much more plentiful. There's many more Elseworld stories. There's many more presentations of Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman, especially that you see them showing up in different ways in different Elseworld stories. I think that's part of the fun of DC. Watchmen is the result of DC telling a story that's outside of the continuity of DC Comics.
Like the top 25 list of stuff that's in DC's canon, like half of it's just fucking amazing Elseworlds.
And I agree with him. Totally. Did you see that he announced the Clayface movie? Yeah, we're getting a Clayface movie. It is green-lit. It's not in development. Sweet. It is done. It is happening. This is going to be a thing. It's Peter Safran and James Gunn. Of course, they're saying this is a DC Universe movie. They have said it over and again. This is DCU Clayface. It's a horror-leaning take on Clayface, and it comes from The Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass creator Mike Flanagan. Apparently, like, Flanagan walked in and had a take, and he had a pitch, and Gunn said, I can't believe you made me want to do a fucking Clayface movie. And he's like, but we'll see. Go ahead and write your script. We'll see how that goes, because, scripts, how that happens. And then he came back with a script, and it was great. And then the second draft was better.
Next thing you know, we're making a fucking...
And he's like, all right. He says, he said, I didn't plan on making a Clayface movie. Mike came in, he pitched this wonderful idea. I was like, damn, I can't believe you made me want to make a Clayface movie. But he's got to write the script, and who knows how that's going to work. He goes and he writes the script. First draft is great. Second draft is even better. And then I'm like, let's do it. So, yeah, they're describing it as a horror thriller tragedy. Now, I ain't saying, Gunn hasn't said, no one has said that Alan Tudyk is playing Clayface in this movie. But they did specify it as DCU. And we are going to see Clayface, DCU Clayface, in Creature Commandos. And he will be played by Alan Tudyk.
And they did mention that some animated might make its way onto the screen.
They said primary characters. I don't know what all that means. But also, you have to understand it's Clayface. So, we don't know that this Mike Flanagan might be the Basil Carlo, and one might be Matt Hagen.
Yeah.
That might be Lady Clay or something. There's like 4 or 5 different Clayfaces in the same universe.
Not even with the same origin stories all the time, or origin method at least.
They run around, call themselves the Mud Pack together. I mean, who knows? But that's exciting, and people have gotten very upset about it. But it's okay. People have asked, is Gunn worried about the release dates? Because Clayface has a release date of September 11th, 2026. Supergirl is going to be June 2026. But the Batman Part 2 is scheduled for October 2026. And Gunn was asked, are you worried about it? And he's like, well, no, because Clayface is in the DCU. It's a different universe. Matt Reeves' Batman is at Elseworlds.
Yeah.
2 different things.
Yeah, we'll be okay. I get considering it, though.
All right, let's get over to some DCT.
Continually more aggressive slurpy sound.
I don't have much saliva this time, so it's like I had to really go for it this time. On Happy, Sad, Confused in terms of Booster Gold and Batman updates, Gunn says we're not quite there yet in terms of Booster Gold. The scripts aren't quite what I want them to be. From the beginning, I've made it clear that the one thing that we're going to do at DC, no matter what, is we're going to wait until the screenplays and the teleplays are ready before we shoot them. And I'm not going to shoot anything until I'm happy with it. I'm not a crazy person. I'm not sitting here micromanaging everything, and I'm never not happy with anything. I'm not one of those guys, but I have to feel it in my heart, and that's happened. It's happened with Supergirl. It's happened with Lanterns. It happened with another thing that was greenlit last week that I can't even talk about yet. I think that's Clayface.
Yeah.
And it's happened with some other things. There are some other things out there that we're moving on. Other things aren't quite there yet. Booster Gold's not quite there yet. Waller isn't quite there yet. Brave and the Bold isn't quite there. They're not quite where I want them to be yet. I'm down with that. I love that. I hate the way Marvel has been doing it over the years, the last several years, where it's like, we're just going to shoot everything on a green screen. We're going to do variations of everything, and then we're going to fix it in post. Well, fix it in post. Yeah. I don't like that.
Well, and a little bit of the Marvel method over there has been, a film is going to be made, and it's going to tell this part of the story, and if, Edgar Wright walks away from Ant-Man, it'll be okay. We'll plug and play a little bit, and that... It's not that each film didn't have its flavors early on. I think a little bit more, maybe. But yeah. The other major thing that I think is a huge improvement is not using hyper focusing on ridiculous fan reactions where you're not really even getting the right litmus test involved to decide what to do and what to green light. Like, that's the major advantage that should have been there the entire time. It'll end up being one of the great regrets, I think, of Warner Brothers if this works. Is having an actual person in charge creatively make that decision, or make that decision with some, creative backing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like stepping back and going, we just need to do things more creatively and tell the story we want to tell without, just making schlock that can be pieced together with CGI. And just to keep the machine rolling.
If it's not ready, it doesn't have to go out.
Dan Aykroyd's phrase from Blues Brothers 2000, saccharine soulless slush comes to mind. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that. So
not a fan.
Not to say it's been completely that, but it has been obviously that a few times, at least.
Yeah. It'll just be a nice change of pace to actually make those decisions from Gunn's perspective, where I would just like to try for once making a movie for the right reasons is all. It just feels like it's been a while on our side of the street.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's definitely been a while from our side of the street. Not counting the Batman, which even though I was, slightly bored by it, it was a bit long, but it also felt like a fresh take on Batman. And it felt like they cared about what they were doing.
Well, to that end, yeah, that might be, we started with Superman last time too, so Man of Steel pretty much got made the way Zack Snyder wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of those that he said that he was happy with how it turned out and didn't want a director's cut. Didn't have a director's cut.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
It was that. So, all right. Asked if Paradise Lost is still the Wonder Woman prequel series. Paradise Lost is still around and in development. Gunn says it's in very active development. That was as of November 24th. So, I've seen people saying, we haven't heard anything about that for a while. You have.
You have now.
It's right there. November 24th. Very active development. According to documents on the Entertainment Identifier Registry, which provides a unique identifier for audiovisual content across the global entertainment industry, DC animation veteran Jeff Wamester is set to direct Batman Nightfall Part 1. Wamester directed Crisis on Infinite Earths. So, looks like if they do, that'll probably be a 3-part movie as well. Nightfall, Night's Quest, and Night's End.
Yeah, it's not a small project.
No, that's a project with some girth. Meaty, erect, and throbbing.
I was hoping you were going to say meaty and needy, but I went... I went somewhere else.
Did you watch this Harley Quinn Season 5 trailer I sent you? What'd you think, man?
I had a revelation watching it. We're at a point with Harley where I don't really know or care. It's not like I was going to watch that trailer and go, oh my God, they're going to explore this. They have a way of doing it where it doesn't matter to me what they're going to explore. It's going to be fun, irreverent. Gross is all shit, and I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So, and last time we talked about news, I brought up the fact that Harley Quinn Season 5 was pushed back, but we now have a date. It's Thursday, January 16th, 2025. It's going to drop the first new episode every week up until March 20th. So I'm okay. I'm excited because it's not often you see Coco the Space Monkey palling around with Brainiac these days.
That's fair.
It's like, that shit was like, we last saw Coco in what, the 1950s? Shit.
It's been a minute.
I laughed when Bane screamed, I will not be taken down by artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Best line of the whole trailer though.
Joker?
What, you don't trust Harley? Oh yeah, I'm sure with her gymnastic skills and short shorts will save us all. Also, I just love this. Like, we saw this a few times in the trailer. It looks like there is a team up between Joker, Lois Lane, and Bruce Wayne. And that looks fun. That looks so fun to me. But yeah, it's a Harley Quinn trailer. I look excited. You got King Shark's kids gnawing on Frank.
Yeah.
I'm just good. I'm excited to see every one of those characters back. Love me some Harley Quinn.
Really just watching it was enjoying it and thinking like, man, I guess I didn't have expectations, but they're somehow going to exceed whatever it was I was... Like, there's no point. They're going to do something weird anyway.
They're going to do something weird, and you're going to enjoy the hell out of it. I don't know why there are giant rats having overtaken Gotham.
And yeah, they're casually deciding to hit the road. I think Brainiac is going to be, confounded by the lack of predictability in Harley's team.
Uh-huh.
Man, probably. I like the idea of him, crossing galaxies just to find her and go, what the actual hell, lady? Sure.
Uh-huh.
And then you have a half-sane Joker over there going, I know, right?
I do like how Joker's taking a turn in this show.
It is weird. It's different. It's a different take that I'm enjoying.
He's like married and his wife and kids just kind of accept him for who he is.
I guess for once, Joker has like some investment in the continued or the continuance of the story in general. For the most part, every time you see Joker, he's there to ruin everything and destroy and kill it. But this one actually needs to get to soccer practice on Thursday and shit. Like,
and he's the mayor of Gotham.
He's the mayor now, isn't he? That's great.
So Linda Carter showed up in a Deadpool.
You sent me that.
Short. Yeah. And I don't know. It's not really DC news, but I thought it was fun, and I'll put it in the show notes at the bottom because we are almost done.
Unbelievably. After what feels like a Comic-Con week.
Just a little fun bit where, Deadpool and his kid as Kidpool are Ryan Reynolds' kid as Kidpool are just, doing some charity work, and Linda Carter shows up and he's like, do the thing, and she spins, and then it's like a big ugly Christmas sweater, and he's like, is those assholes at DC legal? It was fun.
My favorite, actually, the line that got me, them kind of driving away. Oh, it must have been the same guys that got Cavill and so, like, and then Batman.
Yeah, which I assumed he was talking about Michael Keaton since Ben Affleck came back briefly.
I just like the idea that there's somebody out there actively rounding them up.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And Deadpool, of all people, would be vaguely aware of this.
Oh, man. Not that the runtime will show it, but our recording is at 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Christ.
That is longer than we've done in a minute.
And a good reason to stop.
Yeah. It's almost 10 o'clock. I need to run to Walmart.
Start my day.
Well, I don't know about starting my day. I just need to go to Walmart before they close, man. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know what you thought about all the things, the Superman trailer, and how excited you are. DC onscreen at gmail.com if you want to leave us a message, or you can do so on the Patreon, patreon.com/DC onscreen. $1 a month gets you every episode ad free. $5 a month gets you that plus whatever random bullshit we decide to put out in addition to. And we were doing a pretty good job of putting out extra content, and then we stopped again. So we need to get back to that when we're not so damn busy. But hey, we just put out like 3 episodes in a week, so give me a break. Anyway,
we are a little dependent on what's out there, and it's been slow for a second, damn it.
And now it's been busy, but we, just had to really hit up that. But anyway, there's always an excuse not to do extra Patreon content, and we should do more of it, honestly.
Take any one of 20 ideas we have ready to go that we've written down and go for it.
I mean, honestly, oh my God, I didn't even tell you. You remember that character that we did a what was the name of the show that we used to do on Patreon where we looked up characters in the DC Encyclopedia?
Oh, something like Castaways.
Comic Castaways, that was it. You remember that one where I was like, this like pink and purple piece of shit looks like has like Venom's backstory pre-Venom, but he looks like a pink version of the aliens, of the xenomorphs from Alien.
A little bit.
I've been cataloging my comics with the CLZ app, and I have that run. I didn't remember that I had that.
Shit. Nice.
I did. I was like, holy shit. It's that guy. All right.
I recognize him for making fun of him.
Thank you guys for listening. Yeah. It's got to be terrible. I just like buying comics from thrift stores, and sometimes I read them and sometimes I don't, but that's got to be one that I like a run that I picked up and was just like, I'll read that later. It's like I got into a bad habit of like just buying random books at thrift stores and then just like went in and like put them in a box. So like I had not like even really dug into those. So I'm sure that's where those came from. Because I know I didn't get that when I was younger. That was a recent acquisition. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for listening. Until next time. Keep some DC on your screen, and Happy New Year, and Merry Christmas, and all the holidays.
Bye.
Bye.
It can get lonely climbing Mount McKinley, so to entertain myself, I go to ChumbaCasino.com. At Chumba Casino, I can play hundreds of online casino-style games for free, like online slots, bingo, slingo, and more. Plus, I get a daily login bonus. It's just too bad that up here, I don't have anyone to share my excitement with. Woohoo!
Live the Chumba life. Anytime, anywhere. Play for free now at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.